Hello students, I am Dr. Garima Srivastava from Lal Bahadur Shastri College, Lucknow. Moving ahead, today we are going to study about employee relations and the emerging trends related to employee relations. Now we need to study emerging trends related to employee relations because we are studying international human resource management, and when we talk about international human resource management, employee relations and their newer trends need to be learnt a lot. So for this, first of all, we need to understand what are employee relations. Employee relations refer to an organization efforts to create and maintain positive relationship within the with its employee. That means these are relations between the employer and the employee, and maintaining a positive relationship and efforts to maintain them for a longer period of time is the main aim of the organization. So maintaining positive constructive employee relation, organization can hope to keep employees loyal and more engaged in their work. So if organization focuses on maintaining employee relations within the organization, over there it focuses on building up of an environment which is more conducive, which is of more growth oriented environment, and people also feel that they are more looked after by the organization. The organization is taking care of them. People feel more loyal towards the organization. So this kind of environment within the organization only will come when the organization will take care of its employee in a proper manner. Employee relation focuses on creating and delivering people practices which develop and maintain positive working relationship. So whatever ways are taken, whatever instructions, orders are given to the people, the different processes are performed in the organization, the care will be taken specifically in the form that the positive working relationship are maintained within the between the people who are working on the same project. So whenever we are working in an organization, we are not working alone, we are not working in solace. Every time, every person, every individual in the organization is working for each other. So of course there should be a feeling of cooperation, uh, uh, development of team building within the organization. So this kind of environment will only be there if positive working environment, positive working relationship will be there in the organization. This relationship is always based on fair and transparent communication between organization and its employee. So when we talk about positive working relationship between the within the organization, it is never without transparent and clear communication with the organization and its people. So if we want that the employee relations are better maintained, the employee relations are positively maintained, they give effective and efficient outcomes of the people. So it becomes important for the organization that whatever policies, procedures the organization takes up, it takes up in a very clear and transparent manner, and it ensures that each and every person, each and every people, employee in the organization who is related with that particular information is aware of that particular information. So it becomes important for the human resource development department to maintain employee relations within the organization. So over here, if you suppose you want to pass on a policy, or if you want to implement a policy within the organization, first of all, what would be the step? It will be to prepare a proper circular or notice of this policy implementation, and then forwarding it to all the departments, and ensuring that every person in all the department is aware of this upcoming policy within the organization. If it is not so, if any of the node is left out, the person will feel that he has been left out, and there may be chances that a conflict or a dispute arises, or there is a situation of confusion in his mind, and this may result into many other negative aspects for the organization. We have four pillars on which employee relations are established. So to establish good conducive relationship, better relationship between the people and the organization, these four things, four aspects should be covered up in the organization. First of all, open and clear communication network within the organization. Open and clear communication network, it means when we are sharing information, the information is moving from, say, support top to bottom of the organization structure, or if it is moving from bottom to top of the organization structure, upward communication or downward communication specifically, they should be very open and clear. That means a proper network, a proper system of communication of various national information in the organization should be there. So if suppose you are implementing a new policy, if you are going to implement a new policy regarding HRA or TA, traveling allowance, or DNS allowance of the employees, over there clear communication has to be passed through proper channel, through proper media, to each and every node in the organization. So if the organization is emailing it to everyone, so it has to be email to each and every person related to that particular changed policy. And it can be done, it can be CC, it can be BCC, that means carbon copies can be sent to different other employees also, and other branches, other departments of the organization also. So open and clear network and a system that needs to be followed is to be maintained within the organization. That means whenever you are communicating, whenever you are trying to communicate, the system through which the organization will communicate, the channel through which the organization will communicate, will have to be predetermined before sharing of this information. Secondly, being gratitude towards the work done by the employee. So if any of the work is done by the employee and it is worth giving credit to, so credit should be given to the people who have completed this task within time, with quality, with efficiency within the organization. So this being gratuitous on the part of the organization, if organization gives proper credits to the people, gives proper appreciation, recognition to the people who have accomplished the task, it brings about a more positive, a more conducive environment within the organization. So and people feel more and more belonged to the organization, they feel more and more trust towards the organization, because they are more confident that the organization is looking after themselves. So the people will also take care in being more efficient towards the organization. Thirdly, when we talk about is provide consistent feedback to the employees. Now being gratuitous, you have to be you are giving respect, you are giving values to the work done by the people, you are properly communicating your policies, procedures to the organization, to people in the organization. If you are not doing it with proper consistent feedback, it will not help at all. The first 2 points will always be done through the feedback. Now the feedback means a kind of information that organization will share with the people in general, people in specific who need to be given feedback. So if you think that a person has done well, he needs to be given feedback of that particular point. If a person is doing something wrong in the organization, if he is going against the policies or the practices of the organization, he needs to be given feedback in a very proper manner through a proper channel. That means who will be giving feedback, which kind of method will be taken to give feedback. Like you can take up different tests, you can take up counseling sessions, personality development sessions to give this feedback to the employee. So this feedback will always help the employee that what are the parts, what are the different aspects in which changes have to be brought about, and through these changes how efficiency can be brought about in the organization. Lastly, invest in training and development of the employee. Giving feedback will always result into certain kind of trainings and development to the employee. So whenever performance appraisals are done, whether in the home country or the host country, appraisals are done on a periodic time in the organization. Sometimes it is done for say suppose after every 6 months, and sometimes it is done annually or yearly. The results of performance appraisal will always focus on that is there a need for training and development to the employees or not. So if there are needs to bring about training and development, which will ultimately result in the increased efficiency of the employee, the organization should always invest their money, their time, their resources in the training and development of the people. If people will be trained at a proper time, they will be developed at a proper time, they can furthermore be more assistive to the organization in expansion processes, in other implementation of other processes in the organization. So the people will be more polishing their skills, they will be more grilled to apply more of their knowledge in the organization through training and development. So this should be the fourth part of developing of employee relationship. So now over here, if we one more thing is there, if we talk about training and development, it will also increase the morale and motivation of the people by if they are provided training and development. People feel more belonged to the organization, they feel more trust in the organization, confident in the organization, they are more confident in the organization if organization provides them certain kind of training and development. So this can also be a measure to increase morale and motivation of the people, which will ultimately increase the positivity of the employee relation. So these four pillars, these 4 points should be kept in mind while developing positive relationships between the employee and the organization. Now talking about the various trends that are related to employee relations, there has been increasing focus on metrics and analytics. Like other HR functions, employee relation is also becoming more data driven and outcome driven. So why we are talking about various emerging trends in the employee relations? Earlier what used to happen, everything was being you can say recorded on registers or any manual form. They were being recorded, whether it is performance management or different kinds of trainings or different kind of development functions that the people perform, or development programs that they undergo. Nowadays what is happening, everything is data driven. That means to assess the needs, to assess the performance, to assess the efficiency of various programs, functions, data are taken up. Data means information is gathered from all the people who are related to this data, and analyzing of this data, putting up various testing tools on this data, the HR functions are being performed in a more efficient manner. We can take up a very good example over here. Say suppose there is a vacancy coming up as a sales executive in the organization in the host country. So now over here what will data do? The vacancy of this sales executive in the organization, first of all what the organization can do is collect the data related to this sales executive job. He will be collecting data who are the eligible people who can be promoted within the organization as a sales executive. Then through this data he can also collect the names or list of the people from who can be called from outside for hiring at the same position. Then suppose we have got this list, this is called data, this is called information. Through filtering, through putting up certain filters, we can shortlist the candidates on certain you can say certain norms, certain eligibility criteria, which will be very easy on a click of a button. So earlier what we used to do, we used to collect lot of CVs and they were being shortlisted, taking lot of time for calling shortlisting of the candidates, calling for interview. Nowadays what is happening, everything is on computers in an automated form. You have everything in a databases. At a click of button you can just shortlist the people who are directly eligible for this particular sales executive job, and at a click of button only you can by mail merge, by various other softwares, you can send mails, interview letters, um, um, telling them the time and venue of the interview at just one go. You can do this at one click of a button. So it becomes very easy to handle all these processes, those were very cumbersome earlier. So one of the trends of employee relationship, maintaining of employee relationship, is faster communication, clear communication. So this can be done through more if data is more if you are you are putting up information in more data driven form and outcome driven form. Now when we talk about outcome driven, that means by taking a help of various softwares for hiring process, outcome becomes very faster. You get clean people, you get most eligible people at very fast method, in a very without waste of time of the organization. So outcome is also the saving of time and cost of the organization. So organization are increasingly focusing on cost, root cause tracking metrics to drive continuous improvement. So three factors are being taken into consideration. That means every method is being taken which will reduce the cost. for the organization, then again this method whatever will be taken will help to remove the root cause of the problem, and where the data can be tracked easily. Tracking metrics means information can be tracked, information can be gathered, and then they can be kept and tracked very easily. All these three things will ultimately lead to continuous improvement of the organization. First of all, increasing focus on HR metrics and analytics. For the very emerging trend of employee relation is the focus of organization. They are focusing more on HR metrics. HR metrics are measurements used to determine the effectiveness and efficiency of HR policies. Now, metrics means you are collecting data. Once the policy is implemented within the organization, you will collect the data related to that policy. That means outcome will be collected, and then putting up certain tools, tests, methods on this data, you will be able to get that whether this process, this policy was effective or not. So, metrics will help you compare different data points. For example, if the turnover was 5% last year and now it is 7.5%, that means you have got this particular percentage through certain data that you have collected, which was related to the turnover of the people. It has increased by 50%. So, former is the data point and the later is the matrix. That means percentage is the matrix which will tell you an appropriate trend in that particular field. So, if you take up any of the policy and this is the change from the last year to this year, the increase has been 50%. That means you will be able to get a feel that it has increased by 50%. And if this turnover is positive for the organization, it's good. But if this turnover is not good for the organization, if it is giving any kind of negative aspect to the organization, this increase in 50% needs to be further analyzed. That means all the data that has been collected which gave the result as increase in 50%, the different factors need to be studied now. So, if different factors will be studied under HR matrix, it will be taken up in the analytics part. HR analytics, also called people analytics, is quantification of people drivers on the business outcomes. That means you will be able to calculate the performance, you will be able to calculate the training effectiveness, you will be able to calculate the outcomes of the goals that were being set for the organization or the people. Earlier these were intangible parts. The people, so you will be able to calculate personality, perception of the people. These were some of the intangible parts which were not attached to any kind of numerical terms, though many scientists have tried to do it through many other ways. Analytics is also one of the way through which you can quantify the performance of the people. You can quantify different people drivers which have an outcome on the business, which have an impact on the business outcome. Then analytics measures why something is happening and what impact is of what's happening. So, if something is happening, say suppose turnover is there, more or more people are leaving your organization, turnover rate is more. So, why is this turnover happening? And then what is the impact of this happening, this turnover on the organization? This will be told this will be predicted by HR analytics. That means everything will be data based. You have certain proofs why people are leaving the organization. You have proofs where they are leaving, which organization they are leaving, for which organization they are leaving, what are the various policies, factors that are unsatisfactory for your organization. So, you will be able to gather a lot of information through this matrix and analytics of the people. So, this is a very upcoming trend in the field of employee relations, where IHRM needs to focus, because when we talk about people for the host country, we have people from various metrics, various backgrounds, various skill sets. So, their measurement will be easy, the efficiency measurement will be easy if we take up analytics and metrics in the organization. Secondly, centralization of ER function. Centralization means you are vesting the power, you are vesting the authority at one center place. That means sometimes what organizations do, they vest the powers or authority with the home country. That means whatever policies, procedures are being formulated, they are formulated in the home country itself. That means headquarters. and then they are implemented from the headquarters through notices and circulars. Now, strong corporate HR offices that serve as a central decision making authority that supplies HR services to the organization. Now, centralization will always help you to practice uniform and standard policies, procedures throughout the organization. Now, when we talk about throughout the organization, it means whether it is home country, it is host country, or the third nation country, policies remain the same if more centralization is there. But over here, it is a fact that centralization of power, centralization of ER functions will result into somewhat rigid functions in the organization. Why? Because when we move to the other countries, the functions cannot be performed in a similar manner as they are performed in the host country, home country, because a certain kind of flexibility needs to be adapted so as to cope up with the changes that come from the external environment in that country. So functions will be done in the same way, but certain flexibility will be adapted while performing these functions. So this is called centralization of ER function. That means basic purpose, basic network, basic channel that you are taking up to perform the function will remain the same, but certain points will be changing, certain points will be flexible to adapt them to the changed culture in the host country. Thirdly, we can talk about is workplace safety for the employees. This is an also important aspect, emerging trend in employee relations. So, and any organization that looks after the safety and welfare of its people, its employees, people feel more secure in that particular organization. They feel that this organization is looking after them, and the satisfaction level is also too much in those people. Employers should always ensure that the employees are working in a safe environment. Employers should encourage employees to adapt safe practices and use safety equipments while they are on work. They should encourage safety policies, safety programs within the organization. Employees should be made aware of various risks while operating hazardous machines. So, all this is a part of workplace safety of an employee in the organization. Fourth trend is nowadays we have seen a sharp decline in trade unions in the organization. Why there is a decline in the trade unions? Because more and more global competition is there and deregulation in traditional unionized industries. So when global competition is coming up and is taking part in various functions of the organization, over there the work of the trade unions is reducing, the functions of the trade unions is reducing, so their part is also getting reduced, and people are also not approaching trade unions to solve their matters, because organization is itself taking up positive aspects to build up relationship between organization and employee. So where is there the need of this particular trade unions? Secondly, changes in American economy and workforce demographics. There has been a lot of change in American economy and economy of other countries also, and workforce demographics is also changing because people are moving from one country to the another. So continuously with this dynamic change of workforce from one country to the another, the trade unions are not able to handle very diverse kind of people from diverse backgrounds. Thirdly, federal employment laws supplementing traditional union roles. Many kind of employment laws have come up, which are furthermore safeguarding the interests, safeguarding the roles and rights of the people, of employees in the organization. So again, there is no need of intervention of any kind of trade union within the organization. Fourthly, we can say today's workers are less interested in unionization. They are more bent towards presenting their problems directly to the organization itself. Then window on practice of HRM needs to be integrated with overall strategies. HR Windows objective is to increase the fullest the employee's job. So whatever are the jobs and responsibilities of an employee, they need to be made aware about the particular aspects of the job, and through this window the HRM can properly portray its functions to the employees directly. Sixthly, we have collective bargaining. It is a process in which working of people through various unions, negotiation contracts with their employers to determine their terms of employment, including pay, the benefits, hours of working, leaves, health, jobs, health and safety policies, ways to balance work and family life, and more. So collective bargaining has been a process within the organization through which more and more employee relations can be established. So process of collective bargaining, it starts with preparation of ideas, presenting of issues in front of the employees, discussing them with the employer, and proposing a proper demand in front of the employer, then bargain at one particular place where employer and employee, they come face to face in front of each other, and then reaching to proper settlement for each and every demand that has been put up by the employee. So through this, employer will be directly able to settle all the problems of the employee at their end only, and the trade unions and their role will be reduced. We have four types of bargaining, that is we have uh, distributive bargaining, cooperative bargaining, productivity bargaining, and then the composite bargaining. Distributive bargaining, it is defined as a negotiation process by which one party benefits at the expense of the other. So it means one may be at a loss, but the other will be at a profit in this kind of bargaining. This is usually referred to as redistribution of income in the form of higher wages. So if there are demands of higher wages, higher bonuses, or higher financial benefits by the employees, employer will have to pay this, and in this respect, employees will be more benefit as compared to the employers. Then we have integrative bargaining, which is whereby both sides, that means both the parties will be in a win-win situation, they will be in a win-win bargaining. Both parties may bring together a list of demands by which agreement is reached, so that both are benefited at the same end. So with higher wages, higher productivity will help in integrative bargaining. Next is productivity bargaining, where which involves both parties negotiating around productivity. That means if productivity is more, it will be more related to the pay. So unions may suggest higher salaries would boost productivity. Then we have the last one, that is the composite bargaining. Composite bargaining refers to a negotiation that focuses on a number of elements that are not related to pay. They are generally related to employees' welfare and job security. For example, it may cover factors such as working conditions, policies, recruitment, and disciplinary processes. So, policies related to this kind of situations or issues are composed under composite bargaining. These are the four types of bargaining to establish better cordial relationship between the employer and the employees. Lastly, last kind of trend we have is the industrial actions. The industrial actions is an act done either by the employer or the employee which prevents the operation of the contract of employment. Forms of action by the employee includes strikes, go slows, overtimes, and bans. So these are the different kinds of industrial actions that employee can take up if his demands are not fulfilled by the employer. Industrial actions can affect statutory employment rights in two ways. Firstly, it can delay an employee from qualifying from such rights, and then secondly, it can prevent an employee who qualifies from enjoying them. So we need to understand, as an HR department, we need to understand what are the various emerging trends related to employee relations, because development of positive cordial relationship between the employer and employee within the organization is a very important aspect, so as to sustain them for a longer period of time within the organization, and get their assistance, get their experiential assistance within the organization to expand furthermore in the host country and the other countries wherever the company wishes to. Thank you so much.